Welcome back everybody to another video. In this video, I am going to tell you why I believe this player for 4K I would recommend. And it's just a list that I have. I'm going to give you guys some of my experiences. And the ultimate choice is going to come down to this decision on if it plays all the 4K movies without a glitch, without it pausing and freezing, so that you don't want to be taken out of the immersion of watching a movie. And of course, sound quality and picture does matter. It's important. But on this list, I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible, just so you guys can know right away. So on this list, we're going to have the Sony UBP-X800M2, a 4K player. Is a dedicated 4K player. Also, a dedicated one is the OPPO UDP-203. And then we're going to have the Sony PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, the launch version, and the latest version of the Xbox Series S, the latest iteration. So I don't know if it's the same or not, but I still tested that today. So now for the best picture in general, I'm going to have to give that to the OPPO UDP-203. Second place would be Sony. The PS5 and Xbox Series X, they're on par with each other. But as far as picture go, they all look similar. Tell you the truth, you wouldn't even know the difference. But that's how I would rate them. For sound quality, I'm gonna give that also to the OPPO UDP-203. Second place, Xbox Series X. Third place, UBP-X800M2. Fourth place would be the PS5. That doesn't really matter for sound. And that's just, like I said, that's just what I would rate that. Now, as far as streaming goes, the OPPO doesn't stream, so that's out of this category. For the best picture streaming, I'm going to give that to the Sony UBP-X800M2. And the PS5, Xbox Series X is on par, so that's pretty much similar, identical. And for the best sound for streaming, I would have to give that to the Xbox Series X. Second place would be the UBP-X800M2. Third place, PS5. That is that aspect of that. Now let's get to the important stuff. In the past, and I tested it today just to see if it still had that problem. In the past, the three top movies that had the only three movies that I had problems with, whether it glitched or paused. There was The Dark Knight Rises, Thor Ragnarok, and Mission Impossible 3. Mission Impossible 3, even though it's only in Dolby 2 HD, the sound was great, phenomenal. Sadly, that was the worst 4K disc as far as glitch goes out of the three. So let's start with Thor Ragnarok. In the past, I've noticed that on the Xbox Series X and the Sony UBP-X800M2, it froze at least once on the Ragnarok on the Sony UBP-X800, and at least twice on the Xbox Series X. The scene that it froze was on towards the end on that bridge when Bruce Banner turned into the Hulk, and when Loki came to the scene. Around that area, it froze. Testing that today on the Sony UBP-X800 and the Xbox Series X, it didn't do that. Now, I don't know if it's because I just went to the scene. That's why it didn't freeze. I don't know, but it didn't do it today. But in the past, from the very beginning of playing the movie on the OPPO UDP-203 and the PS5, it ran smoothly. But as far as the Xbox Series X and the Sony player, the UBP-X800, from the beginning, it froze. Next movie, Dark Knight Rises. So it glitched and froze twice on the Xbox Series X, twice on the Sony UBP-X800M2. Testing it today, it didn't freeze. And back in the days, in the beginning, from watching a movie from beginning to end, the PS5 and the UDP-203 ran smoothly. Now, this next movie is one of my favorite movies, and that's why this really prompted me to make this video. Mission Impossible 3. In the past, Xbox Series X glitches, freezes. The Sony UBP-X800M2 froze at different spots. The part where they freeze is when Tom Cruise, when he goes out after that G36C or whatever it is, and as soon as he about to get out of the car, the Predator missile hits the car. The blast makes him fly against the car. That's where it freezes, around those area, and that takes out the immersion. Now, on the UDP-203 by OPPO, it did a little glitch, but it kept going. Reran that scene on the OPPO, and it was smooth. And that's for now. Today's test with the Sony UBP-X800, it didn't freeze, at least not there. It didn't freeze, it ran smoothly. PS5 ran smoothly also. And of course, the OPPO still ran smoothly. But the Xbox Series X froze around that area. So then I switched it to the other, and that was the launch version. Then I went to the other Xbox Series X and played the movie in that scene, and it froze again on the latest version of the Xbox Series X. Or, so that's lead me to believe that the Xbox Series X, when we have a certain type of 4K movie, that maybe it had problems from maybe it's just my disc, I don't know. But it seems like the Xbox Series X had glitches when it comes to 4K movies, especially with that Mission Impossible 3. So this is going to conclude my findings, my experience. So if streaming wasn't a factor, my number one choice would be the OPPO UDP-203, because it ran every movie that I ever watched pretty much smooth, never froze, had the best picture, and had the best sound quality. That being said, I'm going to have to disqualify the OPPO UDP-203 for the simple fact that they no longer want to be in the movie business or the player business, and they discontinued their UDP-203 a while back. So UDP-203 by OPPO has been disqualified for that fact. That will give you, I will have to give it to the Sony 4K player model UBP-X800M2, because it does streaming. It had the best picture for streaming and the best sound as far as when you watch 4K movies. And I don't really see any more glitches for those 3 movies. Second place will have to be the Sony PlayStation 5. Sony PlayStation 5 never had any type of streaming or never had any frozen or glitches when watching a movie on the PS5 for the 4K disc. It's just that as far as 4K movie goes, I preferably would rather watch it on a 4K player, a dedicated 4K player. But there's nothing wrong with the Sony PS5 as a 4K player. As a matter of fact, if you want to buy a 4K player and has every feature that you can have a game console such as the PS5, that would be the best thing to buy, to have all those features, not just for 4K player. And of course, last but not least, the Xbox Series X. And for the simple fact that it failed those 3 movies for me: Dark Knight Rises, Ragnarok, Mission Impossible 3. It didn't fail anymore today when I tested Dark Knight and Thor Ragnarok, but it still failed Mission Impossible 3. So that's one up on the Sony PS5 side for the console wars. Let me know below if you guys have the same experience, or do you guys know what the cost may be on as far as the glitch go. Is it just my discs, or is it the movie? Is it all the discs from that type of movie, right? Is it my players? It's all up to date. So let me know if you guys do know, and keep it friendly. But that's gonna pretty much wrap it up for this video, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hooded Dragons out.